Happy Frank here. Welcome to Great Grandpa's Tool Chest. I have another project here today. Thought I'd show you how to build. I know that every good man with woodland needs a good mallet. Pardon me. And so I'm going to show you a way to make a mallet. I've seen multiple ways on various YouTube channels. I've seen them on other websites, but I've never seen one like this, except a book I found has it, and I was intrigued with it for several reasons. To begin with, a good joiner back when they made their own tools, made all of their own tools, and because of that, when they were making a tool for themselves, they didn't make it fancy. They just made it solid and made it usable. When they were making a tool for themselves, they weren't making any money, so they didn't take the time to make it fancy. And so that's what I do. I make them plain, make them simple, hopefully make them quick. And this is probably the fastest way to make a mallet that I believe I've ever seen in my life. And it's a good mallet. So I want to show you, first of all, let me explain about the blank. Now I'm using pine today. There's a reason for that. Yesterday I tried to make this video, and first part of the video I forgot to turn on my microphone, so I've got about a... Well, my battery just went out of the microphone that I was using, so we'll voice over the rest of this. I'm coming up here, you're going to hear my sound on the video, but it's not going to be very good quality. I don't know how that happened. I got a couple of clips in there. I just showed you the hardwood mallet I made yesterday, and just showed you there the blank. That's the blank I'm going to use for today. It's pine. It's 2 inches by 3 inches by 12 inches. Now, with that said, it's actually only 10 inches long, but make yours 12 inches long. I'm using pine because I really didn't want to use another piece of hardwood. I might use it for something else. I really don't need another mallet, but I made it just strictly to show you how, and that's why I'm making this one out of the pine, is to show you how. And I'm setting my marking gauge there at 1/2 inch. We'll use 4 measurements: 1/2 inch, 3/4, 5 inch, and then 5 3/4. I'm setting at 1/2 inch there. I'm going to scribe the narrow side. The 2 inch side needs a line scribe 1/2 inch in from the edge, and that's what I'm doing here now. You don't need to go all the way to the end. You actually only need to go from the bottom up to within 5 3/4 of the end, because the first 5 3/4 on the other end is his head, and we'll be cutting that. We'll be leaving that the same right size there at 2 by 3, and but we'll be cutting some stuff out below that to make a handle. Now I'm readjusting here and gonna set that thing on 3/4 inch. You'll notice that's a little tight. I left it that way. It was tight when I made it. I thought by use it'll loosen up, and I didn't want to sand it because then by use it would get even looser. So, but it hadn't loosened up yet. Now I'm scribing a line here on the 3 inch side on all 4 corners, 3/4 inch in from the edge, and this will become more obvious as we go along what we're doing. But I'm scribing that line at 3/4. So now we have, you should have at each corner, you should have 2 scribe marks, one at 1/2 inch and one at 3/4 inch, going 2 different directions. Now we're going to go out to 5 inch here with the marking gauge, and you could measure that down and mark it and then use a square to go all the way around. I'm using a marking gauge. This is not really a critical measurement. You could go a little more, a little less, and it wouldn't hurt a thing. But well, there went my dog. We're setting that at 5 inches, so that we'll know where the head is going to be. Tighten that up. I need to get a thumb screw for that instead of using a screwdriver.
Next time I go to the getting place, I'll get one. I'm at them all the time and keep forgetting to. Now I'm going to scribe that 5-inch line all the way around all 4 sides. And turning that a little bit. It wasn't in good place. There we go, 3rd side. And finally the 4th side. Now I'm going to I'm going to go off screen here. Oh no, I've got 5 3/4 to mark first. And so I'm setting that out, pushing that out to 5 3/4. And look at that, 5 3/4 right on the button. I don't know if that's skill or good luck. We'll call it skill. How's that? Anyway, we're going 5 3/4 all the way around. Well, then I'm going off camera here. I'm going to get a magic marker and I'm going to highlight those lines that I described on there on 2 sides, so you'll actually be able to see it better. You can't really see the scribe marks on the camera. I only have one camera. I wish I had another, and it would be a lot easier, and I could produce better videos. And one day I'll get another one. But like I said, I'm scribing those lines with a magic marker on 2 sides so you can see them here. I apologize for that tarp behind me. There's actually a window back there, and I covered that window to keep the light away from behind me, because it produced a poor video. And then beside the window, I've got some mirrors that I used to use when I was exercising out there in front of me. Now there you can see how I've scribed those lines. Don't pay no attention to the crookedness, but there's a straight scribe line in there, I promise. And there's the side, 5 3/4, and then 1/2 inch from the edges. And now I'm drawing a line in here at the corner. You don't need that line. I'm drawing that in there to show you something here. When we get the handle made, then we'll take that, we'll pare that off, or we'll start by chiseling off, and then we'll pare it off where it's finished and looking good. I'm marking some scrap there. That's the corner pieces. Actually, the whole face is going to be wasted, because we are going to cut the whole face off. I don't know why I just marked the corners. I felt it was important when I did it, but who knows why now. And I'm explaining that I'm going to go back and cut those lines, the long lines down the handle, and then that I'm going to cut across at the 5 3/4 mark there to get rid of the scrap. And I'll be leaving here, going off camera, and do all that cutting, and I'll be right back on as soon as we get to that point. So go on, fella, hurry up. Okay, I'm back. I made the cut on that. You can see how I cut those 4 lines, and then I cut across the 5 3/4 line and removed that waist. And you can see also there I've got the 5. I still have the 5-inch line marked, and we're going to be paring that off there, or chiseling it off here in a little bit. Now there's my hardwood. When I have it in that vise, I call that a flat vise. I've never seen one like it, but so I guess it's an invention of mine. I don't know, but it works pretty well. But you've got on the other side, you've got to stack up some wood the same width as whatever you're clamping down, There's a spoke shave I made. I'll show you how to do that one of these days. They're really pretty easy to make, and I love using a spoke shave. And all I'm doing here is rounding out the corners. That thing's a rectangle. I'll show you here in a minute. It's a rectangle, and I'm just rounding those corners off, and trying to make it a little more ergonomic so it fits in the hand a little bit better. I'm talking there now about handles on mallets. Take a mallet handle or hammer handle or anything. Now see there, I'm talking about egg shape. Now you grab something, your hand's wider up there in your thumb than it is down the finger. Perfectly, hammer handle ought to be egg shaped. But if you've done that, you could only pick it up one way. So we make them oval instead, and that way you can pick it up from either side. And it makes them easy to operate. A little more spoke shaving here. Now, spoke shave doesn't go all the way up to the head. I'm showing you there how it's rectangle. I'm just knocking the corners off, and so they'll fit the hand. Those square corners will get awful hard on your hand if you went to beating on things with it. I've already done some spoke shave work on this side. It'll take me just a minute here to finish that one out. So I'm just kind of showing you how to do the handle, and showing you how to do the handle there. And it's actually that actually turned out pretty good. I like it. I'm going to use it here in a little bit, but when I start chiseling, now we're going to get that other one. Get my stack of blocks out of there. I need to make some step blocks for that. Be a whole lot easier. And, we'll get that under there. Decide how I'm going to do it. That's about it right there. Get a couple of blocks and get under the other side and tighten that thing down again. I've got a nut under the table. I have to reach up under there and hold the nut when I'm tightening that vise. I made that for a different vise, and when I made it, I put a piece in there to hold that nut, so I didn't have to do that. But I don't have it with this on this vise. And I'm showing you here what I'm going to do. I'm going to mark out the 5-inch line with my chisel, and I'll stamp it out a little bit harder with the chisel so I can see it easier. Now, it's not going to be hard to see right there where those black marks are at. Pardon me. But then I'll chisel that out in there at an angle. And that's what I'm talking about doing here. It won't be hard to do. You'll see it happening here as we go along. I'm new to this video thing. I don't know anything about it. This is my first voiceover. We'll see whether it works or not. I guess if it doesn't, you'll never hear it because I'll just re-record the whole thing. Now I'm marking out that 5-inch line with my chisel. And I'm going to whack it, but that's a pretty light whack, really. I'm not hitting it real hard because I don't want to go deep there. I just want to widen out that line that my marking gauge made so that I can see it a little bit better. I don't suppose it's actually even necessary. Now I'm going at approximately what that angle is going to be when I get finished. I'm holding the chisel at approximately that angle and tapping it out. I'm just up on the edge there, knocking off the corner. Maybe I may have moved back, maybe maybe a 1/4 inch, and knocking that off. Now, when you get the first one done, the best thing to do is move back just a little bit at a time. You don't want to try to knock the whole thing off at once. You'll bust your hammer up, or your mallet up, I promise. So I move back a little bit and mark and hold it again at that angle and just kind of mallet through the thing, and just keep doing that until I get clear across. Then I move back just a little further and move back a little further, move back a little further until you get within 1/8 inch of your line there, that 5-inch line that I've got scribed. Yeah, I'm on it. I'm actually on the scribed line now. And when you get to that point, you can go ahead and get real close to it, because you're going to have to come back and do a little bit of paring to straighten that up and smooth it up and make it look good. So anyway, get real close to it, and use that mark as the final spot when you actually do the paring. I'm about done. I don't have much more. I'm actually going to cut some of this out. You're seeing how I'm doing that, and I'm going to cut out I'm fixing to move it around and do the opposite side. But it's not all the way down. There's just a little bit there. But I'm going to cut out here in just a minute and be right back. Right there we made the jump. Now I went ahead and did the other long side and did one short side. This is the fourth side, and I don't figure you really need to sit here and watch me do a lot of chiseling, but I'm chiseling this side off. Same thing, I'm just knocking off the edge, and I back up a little bit, and then I back up until I get close to the marked line. I'm having a little trouble with my vise here. But anyway, you can see my drinking glass there. My mouth, I remember my mouth was awful dry right there, and I didn't have a lick of water in that thing. But anyway, I'm having a little trouble with my screw. It's actually, the screw on that vise is getting wore out. It's a wooden screw. I'll make another one using steel, but that's a wooden screw, and I've had to replace it once already, and this one's the second time, and this time I'll replace it with a steel screw. I'm going to get into, and in fact I already have the stuff to make bolts and screws out of wood. Didn't quite have it level, so I'm going to try to level it a little bit, see if that doesn't help, and it does. I started to say I'll be making screws and bolts out of wood, and I'll custom make them whatever size the person wants. And I don't want to get rich off of these videos, but I don't want to go in the hole either. And I'll sell those at a minimal profit. I'm not. I hadn't really thought about sales yet. Okay, I've got those all four sides shaped now, and got the angle on them. It just gives you a smooth transition. You can see it there on that hardwood one. It just gives you a smooth transition from the face to the handle. Is all that's there for. You could make that square if you wanted to. It didn't matter. But as you noticed, I used that one. Now I'm explaining here. I'm just going to do about that much work on each corner to break the sharp corners. When I get finished with it, I'm not going to do a whole lot. You can set that up and put a nice wide flat spot on there. You could spoke shave it. Your options are unlimited there, I guess. You chew it off if you want to, I guess. My dog would love that. There's a draw knife that I made out of a power hacksaw blade. I'm explaining about that a little bit, and I put wooden handles on it. Works really great. It's small, and working on small stuff like this, it works wonderfully. I'll show you how to do that one of these days. I plan a video on that, and I'm just kind of explaining here how we can use the spoke shave to do some of the work. Or I said spoke shave, that's not what that is. It's a draw knife, and I had it where I was pushing it. Now I'm pushing there, and you can turn it either way. I turned it around where it can pull, but a vise is giving me so much trouble. I didn't spend much time with that. You can see how it's moving, and it won't tighten down. I'm gonna doing a little bit there, and I'm gonna quit right here pretty quick. But you get the idea. If you have a draw knife, you could use it on there also. Now we're getting real close to done. The only thing to do now, I guess, would be actually finish it up and then sand it and put a finish on it. Now there's the hardwood one there. I'm talking about it. I hadn't actually finished it. I left one side of that one to chisel off, and then didn't do it. But that's pretty much it, really. I don't remember now what I'm talking about at that point in the video, but oh yeah, okay. Now I'm comparing that one with one I was talking about, the wood. Hardwood, the denser it is, the better. I'm showing you here a spoke shave that has hedgewood in it. That round mallet that I was holding up there a minute ago, it's right there in front of my vise, is made out of hedge. It's a very dense wood, makes good mallets, and I just love it. I was showing you another spoke shave. That one has hedge in the middle and oak on the outside. That first one I showed you had hedge in the middle and walnut on the outside. Walnut and hedge look really, really good together. Hedge is pretty yellow, but as it ages, it gets darker, so it doesn't stay that yellow color very long. Used to tell my kids that was pumpkin wood. They got a kick out of that, but now they're adults and they don't fall for those kind of things anymore. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. It's been a new experience for me. I'm new to YouTube and I'm new to videos, and obviously I'm new to voiceovers now, but at least I've done it a time. But we're talking a little bit just general stuff about woodwork. I don't remember what all it was that we were talking about here, but we plan in the future to make a lot of different things for you and show you how to make them. I've got a pretty long list right now already, and I don't know what I'll make next. I want to get this one finished up and on today. It's getting kind of late. It's about 7:30, and I'd like to get it online today. I promised 5 in 10 days on my introductory, and I don't know if I'm going to make 5 in 10 or not, but I will put the 5 on as quickly as I can. One of them I already made and was going to put on and decided not to, because after I made it, I tried to use it and broke it, so I'm not sure it was a good plan anyway. We're just talking about the advantages of a hardwood mallet. That was quick and easy. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed doing it for you. I'm really getting a kick out of doing these for you. And so I hope that stays. Anyway, right about now, I'm going to say, well, I hope your day gets better from there, and God bless.